Thanksgiving is 1 week from today, meaning Black Friday and Cyber Monday are just around the corner. And while it's an exciting time of year for consumers, it is also a busy time for scammers. Joining me now to share more on how shoppers can protect themselves this season is John Bennett. He's the CEO of Dashlane, a password management company. John, welcome.
Ashley, thanks. Great to be here.
So first, before we get into all of this news, tell us more about Dashlane. What service are you providing customers?
Sure. Dashlane is a leading password management provider, and we help consumers secure their digital assets and their credentials, and we also help enterprise businesses do the same thing for their employees worldwide.
All right, and I understand that you believe that passwords are the, quote, Achilles heel of digital security. Why is that?
If you think about passwords and just the histories of passwords, they worked when we had only had to remember a few sites, and we had maybe less than a dozen sites that we spent time in, and we could create unique passwords. And what we found now is, like all of us, on average, a consumer has over 300 credentials that they need to access websites. And so a lot of times, we're reusing passwords, or we're using passwords that aren't that secure. You also have the rise of generative AI, which is great for a lot of things for consumers and businesses, but it's also being used by malicious actors, and increasingly these phishing attacks, these attacks after consumers and these credentials. It's sophisticated, it's operating at scale, and increasingly passwords are sort of that area that they go through. That's that weak link, which creates great harm to consumer and businesses.
And what are passkeys, and how do you feel they're impacting authentication?
Yeah, so the way I think about passkeys is, think about this. It's this super secure, invisible digital key that allows you to unlock a specific website through the biometrics on your phone or your device. There's a lot of amazing cryptography advancements behind this, but it is far more secure than passwords. You don't have to remember a long phrase or a password, and it works seamlessly once it's set up. And each passkey only works with that specific website. So it's very resistant in terms of phishing. You can't be faked out to go use that passkey in a fake website, because it just won't work.
And I understand that retailers are very keen on passkeys. Why is that?
Yeah, so we recently released our Passkey 2025 report, and we looked at the Power 20 passkey providers and the growth of that. And I think, not surprisingly, at the forefront is e-commerce providers, and some of the largest, obviously Amazon and Target and Lowe's and others. And there's a couple reasons for that, which is first is they know that they're being targeted. They know, especially, we talk about we're coming in on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Like those 2 days, it's like 10% of holiday shopping occurred in those 2 days. And what they want to do is they want to provide a much more secure way to authenticate their users, protect their users. But the other thing about passkeys that's pretty remarkable is it's one of these things where, when it's set up really well, and you look like, again, some of these companies that we looked at are just having explosive growth, like Amazon and Target and others, is it's frictionless. So the user is able to set up that passkey, and they're able to get right to the checkout and do that in a secure way, and know that when they come back, they don't have to remember a passkey. I think the other thing that's driving that is, think about how many e-commerce sites that they have first-time users that are trying to set up and make a purchase. The thing that's great about passkeys, it's more secure, it can't be phished, and it removes friction. So that basically, like looking in the camera or using your thumbprint, you're able to set up your account, access that cart, and complete a checkout.
And where does Dashlane fit into ensuring shoppers are able to avoid being the victims of online fraud?
It's a great question. So, we've been sort of at the forefront in terms of recognizing, how game-changing this technology was. And what we look at is our consumer users and our business users. We were at the forefront in terms of supporting passkeys on all the different platforms as they became available. And where we sit in this is we want to be able to provide consumers and businesses the ability to store and manage their passkeys in the way that they want to store them within our digital vault, and also be able to use them across all the different platforms we live in. So whether that's Google or Apple or Microsoft, make it frictionless in terms of being able to use it in the platform that they want to access that application or website on. The other aspect that we play, I think, a key role is we also have been at the forefront in terms of driving and supporting some of the standards by some of the large platform players like Google and Apple and others, which is this is also about being able to take these passkeys or your credentials, and if you want to take them out of Dashlane and put them in a different password manager, you should be able to do that. You should be able to do that securely and frictionless. If you want to bring them into Dashlane, you should be able to do that. And that's where we're playing on the forefront of passkeys.
All right, thanks for the great info, John Bennett, CEO of Dashlane.
Thanks so much, Ashley.